Okay, so Steven Stamkos joining us from his home in Tampa, Florida. Stammers, great to have you back on the show.
Good to be here, buddy. Thanks for having me.
So the second round of the NHL playoffs would have been starting this week. I'm sure the last thing you'd thought you'd be doing is speaking to me through a Zoom call, right?
That was probably on the bottom of the list.
Well, hey, we're happy to have you on. So, Stammer, tell us who is in your quarantine crew right now.
Well, it's a small group. It's my wife Sandra and my son Carter and my dog Trigger. So it's been, you know what? It's kind of been the silver lining in all this is having all this time to spend with my son. He'll be 9 months old next week. So
Wow.
This is like the age that, you know, overnight they're changing. He's doing different things every day. So especially like you said, if I was in the playoffs right now, I'd have a lot of focus on that. We'd be traveling as well. So this whole thing has allowed me to spend as much time as possible during these, you know, really fun months as a baby. So it's really helped, you know, mentally for sure to get through this.
And these are some of the best times to be a father, right? When your kid is so young, and like you said, a little bit of silver lining in that you get to spend some time with Carter. So does he look more like you or like mommy?
Well, the debate is out there. I
Okay.
still think he looks identical to me, especially in his younger months. He is starting to look a little bit like Sandra. I'll give her some credit, but I'd say the verdict is that he looks more like his father right now.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for him going forward, but he's been growing like a weed. I think he's going to be one of those kids that walks before he crawls. So he's been zooming around the house in his little walker for the past couple months. So he's getting there. I haven't got the skates on him yet though, but
okay.
he's got his mini stick in his hands all the time. So it's
okay. Okay. So I'm going to say, like, we've seen a lot of videos of Ovechkin lately putting content out there with him and Ovi Jr. Watching NHL 20 on Xbox, and Ovi Jr. watching him take slap shots. I'm sure you're doing the same kind of stuff with Carter, but you're a more private guy and we're just not seeing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we got he's a big Jolly Jumper fan, so I put him in that Jolly Jumper and he's bouncing around. He's got his mini stick in his hand. I don't know if he's a lefty or righty yet, but every time he gets in there, I make sure to put the stick in his so he's a righty, so he can work on some one-timers later. But he's getting it.
Will you be a little disappointed if he's not a righty? Will that disappoint you? I said, will you be a little disappointed if he's not a righty?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been going back and forth on that one. It's funny because when I was a kid, my dad was left-handed, so he was always trying to switch me to be a lefty, and I was a righty. So I don't know. I mean, I think for me to be able to teach him some mechanics if he wants to play hockey, it'll be easier if he's a righty. I can kind of, you know, show him exactly what's going on. But we'll see. I won't force him into anything, but I do put the stick in his as a righty right now, and he doesn't seem to complain.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll save you some money down the line too, right? You'll have all those righties lying around. You can just ship them.
I'm starting to stockpile sticks already for him, so hopefully he's a righty.
Does Sandra shoot left or right? Your wife.
What's that? Sorry?
Does Sandra shoot left or right?
You're cutting out, Frank.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you now, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, does your wife Sandra shoot left or right?
Oh. She switches by the day of the week.
Okay, so we can't tell her.
She's probably more comfortable righty, but you know, I've had her on skates a few times. I haven't had much stick handling practice with her yet, though.
Okay, well, that'll be something we'll all monitor very closely, which way Carter will shoot. I'm sure we'll be very excited to see that. So, you know, like being a new parent is obviously really tough, right? How tough is it being, you know, a newish parent, you know, 9 months now, and also being a pro athlete at the same time? And like for you, like you're not just any pro athlete, right? Like you're the captain of a team with pretty lofty expectations. So like, how do you balance both those worlds?
Yeah, you know what? It was, it's not easy, but that's where you kind of rely on the support that you have from your wife, from your family. Any type of job that you have where you have kids and you're constantly traveling, or you're in the public eye a lot, it's a little different, but I think it worked out great. Carter was born in the summer, so I had some time to, be with them right away, to kind of get into a little bit of a routine for him to, at least be a couple months before we started the season. But it's hard, especially when it's your first child and you want to be there all the time to see what's going on in his life and support him and your wife and your family. And then you have to travel. But you kind of get into a routine a little bit. You have a lot of appreciation for all the mothers out there for how much work they have to do, especially when, I was traveling a lot. So it was tough, but you get into a routine. You use the FaceTime calls a lot more. You check in, a lot of videos, a lot of pictures sent. You don't want to miss anything, but it's kind of, it's a reality that you live in as an athlete, and you find a way to deal with it. And then you just kind of cherish the time when you are home. So obviously this time that we've had now was very unexpected and very tough, but like you just said, the silver lining was I've gotten all this, time to spend with him, and you can already tell. I mean, at least I can, the bond that you create has been, further developed because of all this extra time.
Yeah, it's really special. That's cool, man. And you're talking about silver linings with obviously the sad situation in the world right now. But another silver lining for you, I guess you could say, is you've got a little extra time to heal up, because you're dealing with a nagging core injury. And I mean, if the season had progressed, your Lightning very likely would have been playing the Leafs. And I mean, how tough would that have been to watch your team take on your hometown city, like from the stands?
Yeah, that would have been, we were kind of always joking about it, even with you guys back home, is, if we ever played the Leafs in the playoffs, that would be pretty special. And it was most likely going to happen this year. It may still happen, hopefully, but it would have been tight if I was going to be able to come back and play. So for sure, this extra time, if we are able to come back and play safely, I'm going to be healthy. I've been able to continue to rehab during this time because I had the surgery. I'm still allowed to get on the ice and work with some of our medical and training staff because of the rehab process. So I'll be ready to go if we do come back and play Toronto. But yeah, that would have been tough. You never want to miss the playoffs. So that's the most fun hockey you ever play in your career. And I think maybe on top of that, a little extra motivation, coming into Toronto and playing the Leafs. But we'll see. That dream is still there. Hopefully it can happen a little later this summer. But the good news in that, like you just mentioned, is that I'll be ready to go. And
that's bad news for Leaf fans, because you're historically a Leaf killer, especially when you're playing in Toronto with the family and friends in the stands. So that'll be interesting to see. And like you said, hopefully we do get to see that playoff series, because that would be a lot of fun. One of the things that really fascinates me, like when the playoffs roll around and guys are injured, is like, at what point do they say to themselves, okay, you know what, I'm just going to push through this injury no matter how bad it is and play in the playoffs? We all know how tough hockey guys are. I guess, like, would there, you said it was going to be close. Like, how do you gauge on how far you can push your body in terms of, saying, I'm going to play in this first round. I don't care if I'm hurt really badly. Like, this is playoffs. And like you said, it's the best time, one of the best times of your career, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is a tricky situation. As an athlete, you'll pretty much do anything to try to play in the most important games. You want to win a championship. You don't want to let anyone down. You want to prove, to yourself that you can go out there and be great in those situations. So it's a very tricky line. I think, for me, in having had the surgery, kind of 6 weeks before the playoffs, I didn't want to miss any games. So we were just trying to kind of manage something that, could even get into the playoffs, finish the regular season, get in the playoffs, and still try to be able to manage it. It got to a point where, if it got worse further down the line in the regular season, that I was going to have to miss the entire playoffs. So it was a tricky situation. We had to make the call at that time to say, okay, let's be smart. Let's be proactive. Let's give ourselves the best chance to maybe not start the playoffs if I have to miss a couple games, but an opportunity that I'm back, I'm 100%, I'm healthy, and we can go on a long run. So we were fortunate to be a team in a position where we knew we were going to make the playoffs at that time. We were comfortable in a position, where we were going to catch Boston. I don't know. It was going to be tough, but we were kind of solidified in that second spot in our division. So that's where you have to do it. But guys, if you're having little nagging injuries, especially at the end of the regular season, you're waiting till after the playoffs are to have any type of surgery. You're going to battle through it. You're going to take whatever magic stuff you can take to get you through the playoff games. We've all had, done it probably at some point in our careers where you're playing through something. That's just the nature of our sport. But it's tricky. And especially as you get older, you start to think more about kind of long-term future in your body. But you're just so in the moment of, playoff action that you're willing to really sacrifice anything to help your team win.
Yeah. Crazy, man. So have you been training like you normally would, or have you been just like resting, rehabbing still like most of this quarantine time?
Well, we've kind of been ramping it up slowly. Like I said, because of the surgery, I've been allowed to still use team facilities and see, obviously, doing it in a smart way in terms of, trying our best to social distance and things like that. But we've been kind of having a tight group of seeing, some athletic trainers and then getting on the ice and slowly progressing. So I will say this, we didn't take it as aggressive as we probably would have if the season was continuing to play and we were getting the playoffs. We knew we were going to have some time because of this. So we really just slowed down the whole rehab process and didn't really push anything. We've just kind of been going at our own pace, and I've been feeling good. So I've been getting on the ice, 3 times a week here for the last couple of weeks and just kind of slowly getting back into it. So I'm feeling really good.
Good. So you haven't been doing any of these like crazy workouts some of your colleagues been doing at home, like Rocky style, using whatever they can in the house to make a gym, like that kind of stuff?
Well, we had, when this whole thing started and we were still unsure of kind of where to go, I did steal a few items from the gym at the rink before all these stay-at-home orders were put. So I have a couple pieces of equipment that I was using, but
okay. You get first dibs on those items because you're captain?
Yeah, well, I said I was the one that needed them the most because I was rehabbing.
That's fair.
And there's some perks of being here for 12 years and being a captain of the team. You may have first dibs on those items.
Okay, that's good. What else have you been up to around the house other than rehabbing and working out? Like, is there a TV show maybe you've been binging?
For sure, lots of TV. As happy as I am to spend all that time with my son during the day, he is nonstop now. So when we put him down to bed at around 7:30 and we get some quiet adult time, we've watched a ton of TV. Ozark for sure. We finished that. One of my favorite shows. Tiger King for sure. Yeah. Ironically, I've never been to Big Cat Rescue here in Tampa.
Oh, really? Okay, I was going to ask you that.
I don't know if I'll be going after watching that show, but we'll see. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I haven't fully watched Breaking Bad yet.
You know what, Stammer? I'm in the same boat, buddy. I've never seen one episode of that show.
Wow.
Not even one.
The thing is, I was going to say we've started the first 3 episodes, I think, on 5 separate occasions, and it was kind of slow, and we could never get by it. So now we kind of said, screw it. We obviously have some time, so we're on it, and I'm hooked.
Oh. Is there a food that maybe you've been binging too much on or eating too much of while you're in quarantine, watching your favorite shows? I know you're a health nut, but is there something that's getting to you?
You know what? To be honest, nothing crazy. I'd say, we haven't been ordering a ton of food in. We've been trying to cook. I'm working on my culinary skills. I'm trying to maybe text or call Justin here and there and get some tips.
Yeah.
But I'd say maybe pizza for sure.
Okay.
There's a really good spot down the street from us that we order from, that if I don't feel like cooking, or my wife doesn't feel like cooking or doing the dishes, we'll just order some pizza. So I'd say that's probably the one, but definitely been watching a lot of shows though.
Which home cooked meal are you missing the most right now from your mom, or maybe someone on Sandra's side? She's got great bloodline of family too, being Italian.
Well, you know what? Sandra's actually she's coming along good. Her mom's a great cook. Sandra's a good cook too. So she'll do the same thing. She'll call her mom. She'll FaceTime her mom, ask her for some recipes. We got a little pizza oven here outside, so she can actually make the dough from scratch, and we'll do some homemade pizzas. So having some trouble finding yeast at the grocery store right now, to be honest. Everyone's making their own dough, I guess, during this pandemic. But, we're kind of lucky here, in Tampa, to have the weather that we have.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little easier to do some outdoor activities, whether it's going for a walk or going out on the boat. We're fortunate to have some more options because the weather has been so nice.
Yeah, big time. I want to take a step back. We were talking about Ovechkin earlier, and one thing that I was thinking that's kind of funny. I mean, you two are two of the best goal scorers of our generation. It's kind of ironic that you've both had sons in and around the same time, right? Who knows? Maybe we'll see the Macedonian and Russian bloodlines continue to battle it out down the line, if you know what I mean.
Well, let's just say this: he had his son, I think, and then won the cup around there. So
yeah,
hopefully the stars align there for me too. That would be, that would be the ultimate dream come true, to win a Stanley Cup and be able to celebrate it, with your first son. So
yeah, man.
But yeah, if we come back, our Eastern Conference, I think, in terms of the parity there, it's unbelievable. I mean, any team from the East, I think, is got a chance to win it this year. We're so strong. You just think of Washington, you think of Pitt. You got Columbus, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, Carolina. Philly was playing unbelievable before that.
Yeah.
You get into a 7-game series, you never know. So it'll be
It's crazy. Do you remember a time in your career when there was so much parity in the East?
No, for the longest time, everyone used to talk about the West, right? And they would talk about, the big bodies in the West, and those guys, come playoff time, they're going to wear and tear you down. But I think the way the game's gone now, with kind of the more speed and the skill and, the pace of the game, the Eastern Conference teams are, they're just so strong now. It's crazy. We used to, when I first came in the league, we talk about, which teams we were going to score 2, 3, 4 points against. It was point night against certain teams. There's no point night anymore. Whether you're playing, this year there's a few rebuilding teams, let's say Ottawa or Detroit or whatever. They still have a chance to win every night. It's just because you're a rebuilding team doesn't mean you're going to get smoked 8-1. So it's a little different now than it used to be. That's for sure.
Who was your point night team early in your career? Who was that team you were like, yeah, boom, I'm lighting these guys up?
Atlanta. By
Atlanta? Okay.
I think if you look at my stats against the Atlanta/Winnipeg organization, they're off the charts. I think.
Okay.
So we'd go into Atlanta, and they'd have 4,000 or 5,000 fans there. It was tough, but you're like, okay, we're probably going to win. You're probably going to get a couple points.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. And that was a long time ago. And you've been in the NHL for so long now, 12 years. It's funny, like last week on the Hockey Illuminati Instagram page, I put a question out on our story, and it was, who was your favorite player when you were a kid growing up? And I can't believe how many answers I got. Steve Stamkos. Like, is it wild for you to think now that, like, there are adults that will answer that question and say, like, yeah, you were my favorite player when I was a kid?
Yeah, it doesn't resonate with me, right? I don't even see myself as that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still, thinking about when I had the Dougie Gilmore poster up, or the Felix Potvin, and the Matt Sundin, or Wendell Clark. I mean, those were the guys that I had up. And now that people are, talking about, it actually, it was really funny and hit me hard this year was when we were on the road in the season. We were having a couple beers in one of the players' hotel rooms after a game that we had won. And we were traveling the next day. So we were just kind of shooting the shit. And I was talking to Anthony Cirelli, who, by the way, is going to be a star in this league in the next, few years. But he was going through his old Facebook posts, and when I was on the cover of NHL 12, I think it was 2012, I was on the cover, and that was his profile picture on his Facebook account, was because he was such a big fan of playing NHL 12, and he was like, "Yeah, Stammer, you were on the cover. That was my profile picture." I'm like, "Oh man, I am getting old."
Wow.
That's when it kind of hit me, like, holy crap, I've been here for, 12 years. Cirelli, young kid, been in the league a couple of years, but that was kind of surreal for me.
Time flies, eh? What's crazy.
It does. It does.
Is Cirelli the teammate of yours who's probably playing the most video games right now during quarantine?
Yeah, I'd say he's up there for sure. Brady Point, Mikhail Sergachev, and Cirelli, Matthew Joseph, the young guys. I mean, they're the video game generation for sure.
You're not a video game guy though. You got no time for that.
No, I got no time for that anymore. But I was when I first came into the league, and we had the little PSPs.
Yeah.
And SOCOM, we'd have those on the plane, playing 4 against 4 all the time.
What were you playing? NHL?
No, we were playing SOCOM.
Oh, SOCOM. Okay.
Yeah, so we'd have 4-on-4, games on the plane through the Bluetooth, whatever. We had a lot of fun, but now no more video games for this guy.
Yeah. You mentioned moments ago, I mean, when you were a kid, the posters you had on your wall were guys like Sundin, Clark, Gilmore, etc. And now as an adult, is it wild that one of your favorite pro athletes today just moved down the road from you?
Yeah, that was I was shocked, to say the least, that he chose to come play in Tampa. Not a bad shock, just no one thought he was actually going to leave New England, right?
Yeah.
And now, to literally have him live 5 streets down the road is pretty crazy. I know it was tough timing with everything that's going on in the world, but there was still that buzz around Tampa. And actually, Ryan McDonough lives 3 or 4 houses down from where Brady moved in. And he said for like the past 3 weeks, at between 5 and 7 p.m. every night, there's like 100 cars that just roll through the street, taking pictures of the house and trying to get a glimpse of Brady and all that stuff. So it's been crazy here, but it's exciting.
Have you ever met him before?
I have not met him, no. I'm just debating on when I have enough time to go and knock on his door and say, "What's up?"
What are you waiting for? Tampa's your city. You gotta come welcome him.
You know what? I sent him a nice text message to welcome him. He got back to me, which was pretty crazy. That was kind of. He did. He iced me for a few days. He iced me for a few days and then responded. So I was. No, we have a.
Wow.
In all seriousness, no, he's a great guy. I've texted with him a few times. We have a mutual friend, so that's where the kind of connection went. And I just welcomed him to Tampa and let him know if he needed any help with anything, I'm here to help out. So, but he's obviously the figure that he is, especially in our generation.
Yeah.
To have an athlete of that caliber come play in the same city where you're an athlete that's pretty cool.
How do you get his number? Through your mutual friend, you said? Yeah,
we have a mutual friend. So it was just kind of, when it was just before official that he was going to sign here, we were kind of talking with the mutual friend, and he's like, "Can't believe, Tom's coming to play in Tampa." And you guys should connect and stuff like that. So it was cool. Obviously, under the circumstances right now, we're not able to do that. But just to know that he's coming to play here for the Buccaneers is pretty amazing. I know the town, like I said, is buzzing right now.
So like when I get a girl's number, like at the bar or something, I'm like kind of nervous the next day to text her. I'm like, what should I say? I'm overthinking it. Like, did you have those same type of feelings when you were getting ready to text Tom?
For sure. I think that's probably the only person I've ever had that with, just because of the star athlete that he is. I made sure I just kept it kind of short and sweet, and definitely wasn't sitting by my phone until he responded. So,
so is he the GOAT in your opinion? Like hands down, no doubt?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've watched, like you said, I've been a Brady fan, like it or hate it. That's kind of the thing. You either love Brady or you hate him. You love the Patriots or you hate him. So to me, I've always, loved watching. I love watching those dynasties, It's so hard to do, I think, in professional sports to see someone win that many championships with the same organization. And really with a lot of players that were kind of coming in and out. I mean, that's why I think that puts him kind of over the top. Like, he never really had studs with him all the time. I mean, he had Gronk, he had Moss there for a bit, but he makes people better. So in my opinion, I think he'll go down, at least for now, as the greatest football player to play.
Yeah. See, I'm a little jaded with the Pats because I'm a diehard Colts fan, and I had to watch Brady and a lot of Peyton Manning led campaigns. Respect the hell out of the guy though. Like what a competitor, and to still do what he's doing at his age, like that's wild. I think though, because like the Bucs are legit Super Bowl contenders this year, right? And I think that if he can find a way to lead them to a Super Bowl, I mean, there won't be any conversation about him being the greatest of all time. Like, it will be GOAT, period, and no one comes close.
No, for sure. I mean, the Super Bowl's in Tampa this year too, so
that's right.
That'll be interesting. Maybe a little extra motivation when he signed here. So. But no, it'll be interesting. I mean, the way I look at it, the last couple of years, there's obviously been a lot of talk about, is he declining? Is he still, the Tom Brady of old? And he played in that Bill Belichick system, which is kind of to control the game, manage the game, don't turn the ball over. And now you're coming here to Tampa where you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin. I mean, there's been some speculation.
As the coach, that's wild too.
Right. Bruce Arians, the quarterback whisperer here. They have a high-octane offense. So it's going to be interesting to see Brady play in that style. And, he still believes in himself. I still do. I think he's going to sling it this year. And, they have underrated tight ends too, with Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard. Yeah. So, I mean, there's been some speculation about them trading one of those guys. I've heard Howard's name recently in kind of the local media, but either way, they're two kind of underrated tight ends. Brady likes throwing the tight end, so it'll be. I'm excited. I mean, whether you're on off,
to a year.
What's that? Sorry.
How many Bucs games do you go to a year?
Well, I think that number is going to increase now.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure will be the case for a lot of fans here in Tampa jumping on the Brady bandwagon. But I've been tried at least to get to one a year. Yeah. Obviously, the schedules, with our season are tough, and plus, they only play 6 or 7 home games throughout the year. So, but I still have my little football up here.
See it.
This is the first Bucs game I ever went to.
Wow.
We got to sit in the owner's suite there.
Who did they play?
Good question. I don't remember who they played that night.
Yeah.
But Tiger Woods was sitting with us in the suite. It was the owner's suite. There was like 4 or 5 of us. I was a rookie. I was 18 years old. I just got to Tampa. We got to go to the Bucs game, sit in the owner's suite. and sitting way, I mean, it's a huge suite. So sitting way on the other side was Tiger Woods. So that was kind of my only other moment maybe where I was kind of in awe of someone. We didn't get a chance. We didn't get a chance to formally, talk to him because he was kind of with a bunch of other people on the other side, so we didn't want to bug him. But that was kind of cool. He would go to a lot of Tampa Bay Bucks games in earlier. I don't know if he still goes to them, but he was around there. But yeah, I kept this that ball and put it in a little thing. 2008 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my first Bucks game that I went to, and here we are 12 years later, and now we got Brady as the QB, so pretty cool.
You ever watch NFL games, like maybe you're on the sidelines or you're at a Bucks game and Mike Evans makes a sick catch? Do you ever think to yourself, like, damn, I'm a world-class athlete, like I could maybe do that?
Oh, we have those conversations all the time in the dressing room. Yeah. All the time. They're like, yeah, you know what? We're athletes. We could go out there and be a wide receiver for one play, and then you think about it a little more and you're like, maybe not. Those guys are so good and big and strong, and I mean, like, there's no way you could go the other way and do what we do on the ice. I mean, it's just, we all think we can do it, and then you go there and watch it, from the sidelines, like you said, or right up on the glass if you're watching a hockey game, and I think you just have, more appreciation. Like, I even have some baseball buddies, and, I played ball growing up, and, you just see what they can do out there, and you're like, oh, I'll hit that curveball, no problem. Then you see it live, and, like, you have no chance.
Yeah.
Zero chance of hitting a major league pitcher. So it humbles you pretty quick when you see it up close and personal.
If you were going to play in the NFL, what position would you be?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I'd have a choice. With my lack of size and strength compared to those guys, I would have to say I'd maybe a corner or safety, for sure. Somewhere where I'm not going to get absolutely steamrolled.
Yeah.
I got decent hands, so maybe play receiver. But other than that, I don't think I'd have a chance.
I could see you as maybe like a Wes Welker type, like a little slot guy. You're very speedy.
Those guys are crazy, Frank. Those guys are catching balls in the middle of the field, getting absolutely steamrolled.
Yeah. Speaking of guys getting caught in the middle of the field or getting steamrolled in the middle of the field, we saw one of the best receivers in the league get traded with DeAndre Hopkins this year. Like, I think that was one of the weirdest transactions in all of sports history. Like, here you have a guy who's like he's in his prime, he's 27, arguably the league's best receiver, and he got essentially thrown away. Like, I guess for people that aren't NFL fans, this is like the equivalent of, like, I don't know, like Colorado trading McKinnon for like a third liner and like a fifth rounder. Like, that's kind of what it was. Yeah,
I was shocked, especially with kind of how that team's built. They have a lot of good young players, right? Like, you think that this is their window these next couple of years.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that coach over there. What's his name? O'Brien?
Yeah.
I think he's coach GM now too. He's made some kind of weird trades the last couple of years. I mean, they got rid of Clowney. They got rid of they get rid of Hopkins. I mean, who'd they bring in? They brought in Cooks and Cobb now, I think.
And they got what's his name back from the Cardinals, David Johnson.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, if it was, whether it's they think he's going to ask for a raise or if it's a salary cap related thing, I don't know if they're tight on money there, but it just, from a talent standpoint, I was shocked. I think he's one of the best, reliable receivers in the game. He may not be like the most explosive guy, but he is, I think, as solid as you're going to see in terms of, catching the ball. I think it's like kind of him and Devontae Adams, in my opinion, where they're kind of similar players where you throw them the ball, they're going to catch it.
Yeah.
So I was surprised.
Hopkins, 7 NFL seasons he's played. How many games do you think he's missed due to injury?
Well, if you're bringing it up, I'm going to have to say 0.
Close. 2.
2. Wow.
2. Think about that for a receiver. Like, and this guy's getting, 10, 15 passes a game, getting hit. He missed 2 games. That's insane.
Right. I mean, that's it. If you're asking me, those are the type of guys you want to build your team around, right? So shocking for sure. I mean, this whole off season in the NFL has been kind of crazy.
Wild. Is Hopkins your number 1 receiver off the board in fantasy next year?
I don't know. It's going to be tough because now he's going to Arizona. Their quarterback there is kind of a wild card. He runs the ball a lot. I mean, I don't think he is. No.
Wow. See, but then again, like knowing you, maybe you're just being sneaky and you don't want to divulge any information.
Yeah, maybe, no, I'm not overthinking it that much. But I mean, I'm a big Devontae Adams fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big Mike Evans, Chris Godwin fan. That'll be interesting now again with Brady there. What's going to happen? I think he's going to sling it. So those guys are going to be unreal. I mean, Godwin was my sneaky pick last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Tough to sneak picks on you guys though.
No, it's very difficult. And last fantasy football question I want to ask you is: are you going to reach on Tom Brady? You have to almost, right?
Yeah, I will reach on Tom Brady.
Yeah, like you're gonna have
but
to.
I have a feeling Brad's probably gonna take him first round just to try to get me to trade. Yeah, just to screw me over for sure.
Brad will still take Brady and Gronk like it's 2015.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe Gronk will make a comeback with the Bucks.
With the Bucks, yeah.
He likes. I mean, it's not Miami, but there's nice weather, there's palm trees. The WWE where the facilities down the road, so maybe you can do both.
Wow. Have you ever met Gronk before?
I have met Gronk. Yes, he used to. So he used to have Tampa ties. The community I used to live in here in Tampa. He actually bought a place in there. This was 10, 11 years ago. He bought a summer house in there, so I would see him all the time. And I guess when he bought the house, there was a boat that came with the house, and I don't think he knew much about how to drive a boat. So I ran into him there was like a community bar pool area, and he was there, and he just kind of asked me, he's like, "Hey man," I don't think he knew who I was, but he's, "Hey man, do you know where the gas station is? I got to fill up my boat." And it was literally like 100 yards, just across the water. I'm like, "Yeah, it's over there, Gronk." Okay. He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." He's like, "Hey, like, if you're ever passing by my house and there's music blasting," he's like, "feel free, come on in, and we're gonna be partying a lot this summer." So
wow.
I didn't end up partying with Gronk, but I did have a small chat with him back then.
That's pretty cool, man. That's cool. Well, listen, Stammer, you've shared a lot with us again once. You've shared a lot with us again once again today. It's been great. I got a few rapid fire questions for you before we wrap up. So yesterday I opened up on our Instagram page to some fan questions, and people just threw some stuff at me that I'm going to ask on their behalf. So we're going to wrap up with a few rapid fire questions.
Sure.
All right. Who's the teammate you miss the most right now?
Teammate I miss the most? I'd say Anthony Cirelli, because he sits beside me in our locker room, and some of the stuff he says and does just makes me laugh. So I miss that.
Okay. Favorite roommate you've had in your career, and why?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I'd say Steve Downey was my favorite roommate.
Okay.
And we had a lot of fun together, and I kind of had to be kind of his watchdog and make sure he got up on time and made sure he got back in and stuff like that. But we had a lot of fun together.
Nice. Okay, Downey. If players could pick their own goal songs, what would yours be?
Well, it's funny because in Tampa we have our own. Some of us have our own goal songs. So
do you guys? I didn't even know that.
We've been ahead of the curve here, I think, Frank, in terms of having our own goal songs. So you got to watch more Tampa games, okay?
I guess yeah.
They play hammer time. So every time I score, they have it on the big thing, and it says Stammer time instead of hammer time. So that's the thing. Go look. You got to look that up on YouTube or something.
Yeah, you know what? That was a silly. That fan clearly is not a Tampa fan. Whoever sent me that. Anyway.
But no, we do. There's like 4 or 5 guys that have had goal songs in Tampa for years. I mean, Marty had one when he played. Louie was his song.
Wow.
When Tyler Johnson scores, they play "Go Johnny Go."
Oh, cool.
So we actually have some cool ones here.
You guys are way ahead of the curve. I don't know why every team in the NHL doesn't do that.
Yeah, you should. I think it's good. I mean, it gets the fans involved. The only thing is sometimes when you have one of those sneaky undercover deflections, they don't know which song to play because they don't know if it was there. But I just tell them to play my song all the time. So.
Hammer time playlist, 18 songs.
Yeah.
Okay, last fan question. Do you have some type of a good luck charm or maybe like a lucky object of some kind?
I don't have a specific object per se, but I would say I'm pretty superstitious, maybe a little stitious, not superstitious, but in terms of like if I have a good game or we win, I'll try to do a lot of the same things. I'd say my superstitions are my pregame meals.
Okay.
I kind of go between 2 restaurants in Tampa that I eat my pregame meal with, depending on how the game before went.
Yeah. Okay.
Or I'm either going to one of those 2 restaurants, and that's kind of, if I have that meal before the game, I'm feeling better about myself.
What about when your buddy Justin comes down to visit you? Do you let him cook pregame meals for you?
Nope. He can come with me to the restaurant, but he's not cooking my pregame meal.
No.
He can cook dinner the night before, but not my pregame meal.
Okay. Very good. Well, all right, man. Listen, this has been great. Again, thanks for hopping on this call with the Hockey Illuminati. We really hope that we get to see you back in action, and the whole league back in action at some point this year. Fingers crossed. Obviously, we've got to get some normalcy back and flatten the COVID curve before we can get back to our normal way of living. But I know hockey fans, Lightning fans, everyone's anxious and really hoping that we can see some puck back, because it's a big void that it's left in everyone's life. And it's funny, like, if there's one thing that this crisis is, I think, taught a lot of people, is appreciating the little things in life that you took for granted. It's something as simple as flipping on the hockey game after a long day at work and watching your team play. Well, for sure. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, all the little things that we did take for granted now. So hopefully, I know sports is a big part of a lot of people's lives. It affects a lot of people in different ways. And like you said, if we can get back to it, safely, we'd love to. It's a tough time in the world right now, but hopefully if we can get sports back and can bring people together a little more in terms of obviously not being physically in the stadium, but watching the games and having that connection again, that's the plan. Yeah. Awesome. Let's hope that plan comes to fruition. Stammer, thanks a lot, man. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you back on the ice. Okay. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.